So very good morning to all. And in continuation to our topic, that is stereoisomerism, today I discuss in this lecture regarding the classification of stereoisomers and further we do discuss certain aspects of optical isomerism as well as optical activity, which is also in our syllabus also. So earlier we have, I do discussed regarding the stereoisomerisms as well as the importance of stereochemistry, and I do discuss the various aspects as well as the importance of stereochemistry and stereoisomers in the pharmacy. So let us continue and emphasize on classification of stereoisomers. So stereoisomers are, in a very broad sense, are categorized into two different types, or in a broadly we can categorize the stereoisomers as geometrical isomers or the geometrical isomerism, or optical isomers or optical isomerism. So this is a very, in a very broad sense, we can categorize the stereoisomers either, not either, as the very first one is the geometrical isomerism or geometrical isomers, and the second class includes the optical isomers or optical isomerism. However, in certain texts, you do have one more subclass, that is the conformational isomerism. In certain texts, it is also be there. However, in a very general case or in a very general sense, we typically classify the stereoisomers as geometrical isomers or optical isomers. So before discussing what are these isomers or what ultimately these subclass represents in stereoisomers or in stereochemistry, we just have a very quick lookout what is ultimately the meaning of stereoisomers. So before moving well in depth of all these things, we should have a very proper approach. We should have a very good approach so that for our basics, so that we ultimately have a very good grip on whatever the content which we are going to pursue further. So generally, the stereoisomers, I also have discussed this earlier, and just before moving further, just only emphasize on its brief on its definition, that stereoisomers are the compounds which have the similar connectivity order, which have a similar bonding pattern between the atoms so responsible for forming a molecule. However, whatsoever the atoms or groups which are present in the molecule are arranged in a manner different among itself when represented in a three-dimensional space. So, the stereoisomers have, or we can define as the stereoisomers have the same structural formula, that is, they have the same bonding pattern or the connectivity order between the various atoms or the various functionalities or the various primary functionalities which are present in a molecule. However, whatever the atoms or the groups which represents or which ultimately constitute the molecule, these atoms or groups are arranged in a different pattern within a well-defined three-dimensional space. So this is a very prime definition of the stereoisomers, and we do look into what ultimately these subclasses which we have discussed earlier are ultimately are. The geometrical isomers, they are also be known as cis and trans isomer in a general sense, and they sometimes for a complex molecule, these particular geometrical isomers are sometimes also be notated as E and Z form. So this totally depends what type of our structure we are ultimately came across or we are dealing with. However, in a very general sense, the geometrical isomers are also be known as cis or trans isomers. And the reason why the geometrical isomer arises is because there is a restricted rotation of various atoms or groups that are ultimately present in the molecule. So geometrical isomer is also a type of stereoisomer which arises or which came into existence when the atoms or groups of atoms are arranged in a pattern different among in a well-defined three-dimensional space, so that there is a restricted rotation of bond or bonds in a particular molecule. And the reason why they are known as cis or trans isomer, this can be further be well concluded once taking a very simple example of 2-butene. Now, while you are looking into the structure of 2-butene, you do have found or you do have noted that in 2-butene it contains certain bulky functionality, that is the methyl group, which are bonded directly to the two carbon atoms which are in direct conjunction with each other with a double bond. And accordingly, due to the presence of such functionality, that is the methyl group, on either side of the double bond and on the basis of its pattern in which it is present, the the 2-butene can exist in cis form or it can exist in trans form. So the 2-butene, which represents or which is I'm here exemplifying as a geometrical isomer, is said to be exist in cis form when the two methyl groups are arranged or present on the same side of double bond. So, as I said, I also here stated the methyl group as a bulkier one when we are comparing to the various substituents which are present in the 2-butene, and while comparing them, I am denoting or depicting the methyl group as a bulkier group, and comparatively in this particular structure, and this 2-butene is said to be exist in a cis form when these two methyl groups are arranged on the same side of double bond. So this is be termed as cis isomer when the methyl group of 2-butene are on the same side. The 2-butene is represented as cis form or as a cis isomer. And when these methyl groups are not present on the same side of the double bond. Rather, these methyl groups are present on the opposite side of double bond. Such type of butene, or in such a case where the two bulkier groups, which I am here representing as a methyl group, is present on either side of double bond, or they are not present on the same side of double bond. In such a case, the butene is said to be present in a trans form, or it is said to be a trans isomer of 2-butene. So the another example which I can give here right now is, for discussing the geometrical isomer, is we taking an example of 1,4 dimethyl cyclohexane. So while here in this structure, that is the 1,4 dimethyl cyclohexane, this particular structure also exists either in cis form or in trans form, depending the presence of the methyl group accordingly, either above or either on the same or different side of the plane of cyclohexane ring. Now, the one thing which has to be noted in case of geometrical isomer is that the geometrical isomers generally shows or generally possess different physical as well as chemical properties. This has to be very well be noted, and should be memorized, that geometrical isomers generally have the different chemical as well as the physical properties, and the difference in their physical property is sometimes bit more significant when there is a more or when there is a greater difference in the polarity. So I'm again repeating this particular point. The difference in the physical properties for such isomer is bit more important when they do differ in sense of their polarity. So usually the dipole moment of cis isomer is greater than that of trans isomer, and it is a reason why the cis isomers are more soluble in polar solvent comparatively. But when we look into the stability or the stability pattern while comparing the cis or trans isoforms, or while comparing the cis or trans isomer, we do notate that trans isoforms or the trans isomers are more stable than that of cis isomer, because in case of trans isomer, the bulkier functionalities are as present opposite to the double bond, or they are present at different position opposite to the double bond, so there is less repulsion amount. Now, representation of this or representation of certain molecules, or for molecules which are somewhat simpler in nature or which contains the similar functionality around the double bond, can be easily categorized or represented by the cis or trans form. So the simpler molecules where the similar functionalities are present on either side or on similar side of double bond, such molecule can easily be distinguished or differentiated accordingly on the basis of cis or trans form as per the presence of functionality on a particular side of double bond. However, under certain conditions, the simple depiction or simple or usual convention of denoting the geometrical isomer by either cis or by a trans isoforms or descriptor is not sufficient. And you do have came across various molecules where rather than a similar functionality, rather than similar substituent on the either side or on the carbon atom directly bonded to the double bond, are sometimes different also. They do have a different set of substituent on either side of double bond or the carbon atom pairing the double bond. So to differentiate such molecule in context not only to the geometrical isomers, but also to differentiate them accordingly in the stereochemistry, we have to use a novel system of nomenclature, which is also be known as E or Z type of nomenclature or E or Z notation. So this E or Z notation, which is adopted to differentiate the two isoforms in context to the geometrical isomer, only when or under the circumstances when there are different substituents are present on either side of double bond or on the double bond. So according to this peculiar method, or according to this particular method of denoting the isoforms, here the words, before moving further, here the words E and Z are itself represent the overall meaning or overall scope of this particular notation. So purposefully, the term E or the term Z here, the E, the alphabetical, the alphabets, that is E and Z, are always be noted or always described in capital letter. So the word E and Z represents the E equals to, or the E is also be known as Entgegen. E is also be known as Entgegen, which is a German word, and the Z is equals to, or the Z represents the Jusam Min. So the word Entgegen and Jusam Min, or it is sometimes also be denoted as Jusam Min. It totally depends how we are pronouncing, but both these words are the German words, which in a usual term means, the Entgegen means the opposite. The Entgegen, it means the opposite, and the Z, which represents the Jusam or Jusam is denotes the together or on the same side. So accordingly, in E and Z notation, if the functionalities, or if we have to discriminate between the two isoforms, we have to follow certain sets of rules. And generally, or in a very general sense, according to this method of discriminating the various isoforms, if the groups with higher priorities are present on opposite side of double bond, that particular isomer or isoform is denoted by E, that is the Entgegen. So if the group with higher priority are present on the opposite side, or if the high priority groups are present on the opposite side of double bond, such isomer is denoted by capital E. And here, as I discussed, the capital E represents the opposite. Likewise, when the groups with higher priorities are on same side, when the groups with higher priorities are present on the same side of double bond, that particular isomer is denoted by capital Z. And we do have I do here discuss the meaning of Z, that is the together or towards the similar. Now there are certain sets of rules or certain procedure to determine the presence or discriminating this E and Z configuration. However, we do discuss all these things later on, and here for the purpose of classification, this much is well sufficient. So under the sub-classification or under the subcategory of this is stereoisomer. The next isomer is the optical isomers. So this term we do have came across in many sense, and these optical isomers also represents a very prominent class of chemicals that are well used for treating the diseases. So I will anyhow not go that much, or we do not ultimately explore the pharmaceutical importance of optical isomer, but I do explain them while we are discussing the optical isomer in my upcoming classes. So what the meaning of optical isomers? So the quite simple definition of optical isomer, which is also represent a subclass under the stereoisomer, or it is also a type of stereoisomer. Here, the optical isomers are the two compounds that contain the same kind of atom or same number of atom, as well as similar bonding pattern. A similar bonding pattern means they have the connectivity among various atoms or the functionalities which are present in the molecule have similar connectivity pattern. However, again, they do differ in the arrangement of these atoms or the primary functionalities in a well-defined 3D space, but also they have non-superimposable mirror images. So non-superimposable mirror image means the image which is unable to get superimposed or aligned. These are the images that are unable to be get aligned or superimposed. So these non-superimposable mirror images are the structure representing such non-superimposable mirror image or mirror images are also known as enantiomers. And generally, the molecules which exist as optical isomer are also chiral in nature. So here in case of optical isomer, or why we are defining the one class or one subclass under the stereoisomer as an optical isomer. What is ultimately the meaning of term optical here? As the term optical, rather it defines, or rather it belongs more to the physics rather than chemistry. Optics or the optical. So this term, that is the optical isomer, or in optical isomer, the word optical itself belongs a bit more to physics rather than chemistry. And why ultimately we are denoting certain molecules or the compound under the class of stereoisomer, or why these compounds are ultimately be known as optical isomer. This is because these molecules have a very important property. And this particular important characteristic or the important property which the optical isomer have is their ability, is their capacity to allow the passage of light through them. They allow the passage of light which can pass through them, and they not only allows the light which can penetrate these molecules, but also these isoforms or these isomers do have a capacity to rotate the light to a particular well specified angle. So this is why these isomers are known as optical isomers. So this is a very in a very general context, that optical isomer are the specific chemicals or a specific entities or a very specialized molecule which have a capacity to pass the light, or which have a capacity to pass not only allow or not only give the passage to the light, but they do have a capacity to rotate the light into a particular direction. So what type of light do these isomers are allowed to pass through them, or to what type of light these isoforms do give passage? So generally we do, in order to determine the net rotation or the net bending of the light by these molecules, the plane polarized light which is also be known as PPL, capital P and the capital L, PPL, that is the plane polarized light, when passes through these isoforms, these isoforms will able to rotate the light either to the direction of their propagation, either left or right to the direction of their propagation. So before moving further, we do know what is the meaning of plane polarized light. Here the plane polarized light, it consists of waves which are vibrating in a particular specific directions. So when the plane polarized light is allowed to pass through a sample, and if the sample represent any isoform of optical isomer, that sample will then divert or bend the light to a specific direction. And accordingly, the direction to which this PPL or the plane polarized light gets diverted from its passage of propagation, these isoforms are either be said to be the dextrorotatory or levorotatory. So when these isoforms are said to be the dextrorotatory and when these isoforms are said to be the levorotatory, that depends to what direction the light gets bended after passing through the molecule. So when a molecule is able to rotate the light to left, that molecule is said to be the levorotatory, and it is represents by the English alphabet L or English alphabet small l. They are not represented by capital L. Please note it down. The levorotatory isomers are denoted by English alphabet small l. And likewise, when an isomer or isoform rotates the PPL or the plane polarized light towards the right, that isoform or optical isomer is said to be the dextrorotatory. Dextrorotatory means they are bending the light from its path of propagation to or towards the right side. And such isoform is said to be the dextrorotatory. Now, the instrument which is used to study the bending of light or diversion of light from its original path by a chemical entity or a chemical compound, that instrument is known as polarimeter. And it do have a different parts such as the light source, then a polarizing lens or a prism depending the type of instrument is using, then a cuvette or a centrifuge, then an analyzing lens. So depend on the basis of instrument or the polarimeter we are using. It have different components. However, the one which I just now discussed, that is the source lens or the optical system, in sampling area, then detectors or the analyzing lens, and sometimes the most or the more advanced polarimeter do have an auto calculation device also installed, which gives or where the reading is automatically be generated without and requiring no further calculations. So this is all about regarding the optical isomers. And one more terms which is also be used in the case of optical isomers is the optical activity. So this is also the ability of a chiral molecule to rotate or divert the PPL or the plane polarized light and the angle or the net direction to which the light is get bended or it get diverted is calculated in terms of specific rotation. So I do discuss the more about geometrical isomers as well as the optical isomers well in detail in next class. However, for the purpose of classification and to know what ultimately the each subclass under the classification of stereoisomer represent, this much content is well sufficient. So in a case, if any of you people have a problem or a doubt regarding this lecture, you can mail me all your queries whenever it knocks to my mail ID. So this is well sufficient for the today's class. Thank you. Thank you to all.